All right, listen up, because I'm going to say it as plain as day. Sometimes that whole concept around it's better to be late than never, better late than never. No, sometimes that doesn't apply. Sometimes it is too late. Sometimes it's too late to apologize. Sometimes you can't take back certain things. There's certain opportunities that you cannot get back just because you come to something at a certain time. Some things are going to be missed. And this whole concept around better late than never, yes, it does apply in some cases. But no one should ever make that their default if they're using that to procrastinate on something, whether it's a goal, whether it's how you treat somebody. You know, better late than never, right? Well, not when you can actually be doing better now. See, some things have to change. You have to start shifting some things up. There's some things you cannot allow in your mentality to be a default. Now, again, in some cases, is it better late than never? Absolutely. Absolutely. But those need to be revelations that you come around to at some point, not along the way thinking, oh, okay, I can just take my time. As long as I get there, at least I get there. And even if I'm hurting somebody's feelings, if I come back around later and say, hey, I'm sorry about that, better late than never, right? Again, yes and no. Sometimes, though, yeah, you come back around late, but it doesn't mean that that person has to accept you back. That doesn't mean that they have to forgive you. Forgiveness is nice, for sure, and definitely we should all be forgiving, but we should never live our lives in that type of default mode of, well, better late than never. I know I'm sounding sarcastic about it, and it's intentional. It's kind of crazy. I heard something even from a client in the relationship counseling, coaching that I do, and it's sad because that person's spouse has that mentality. Well, as long as we get on the same page at some point, even though I may be slow to getting it, but not realizing that you have a responsibility in the present to be doing the best that you can. If someone's communicating to you, listen, that's hurting me. Just because you can't see that that's hurting, and that person says, okay, one day you're going to wake up and you're going to realize what I've been saying, and your comeback is, well, at least I come back around and we on the same page. It's like, what kind of mentality is that? So I don't speak to that, to address that during, those times, because people have to come to their own resolutions, and I just create the space, for them to do that. But since I'm not in that session at this point, to be offering guidance or anything of that nature, I am just speaking that this runs across the board, because I've seen this. I've dealt with this in my own life with family and different things where people have this mentality of, well, better late than never. At least I get there. Yeah, but if you are being intentional about that and actually not doing the things in the present that you need to be doing that could actually be not only benefiting you, but other people. So it's like people should be suffering and wait for you to get it together so you can say, oh, now I get it. I see that I was just, being nasty and abusive and all these, but hey, at least I got here, right? At least I got here, and I'm sorry, Again, I'm being sarcastic, but my thing is we should never take life or people for granted. Okay, there are some things in this life that no, we don't need to have the mentality better late than never. And you do have to use discernment and make those distinctions. And I'm being very clear about that. So no one's like, well, no, that's discouraging people from not doing things and making them think, oh, it's too late. No, that's not where this message is coming from. I'm making it very clear, abundantly clear at that. There are times where that does apply, but never in the case where people are using it to be manipulative or to kind of coast along on their own, time. They say one of the biggest regrets that people have, especially when they're on their deathbed, or they know that they're going to be transitioning, is that they get this revelation about how different life could have been if they would have made some different choices. And then they're at a point where they can't do anything about that except for, of course, feel a little bit feel remorseful, and then say, yes, I did get this revelation, and I'm glad that I did get this, and that's good that they do get that, you know. Or just like when someone, I'm just going to come from a Christian perspective, someone who accepts the Lord on their deathbed. And that's great, of course, that's awesome. That's great that they did. But the life that could have been lived fully within Christ, if they would have accepted sooner. So yeah, so it's good that the acceptance was there, of course. So there's not the alternative, for sure. But there's still that missed opportunity of a life that could have been lived on this side of the experience. So I'm just addressing all types of angles here. But so I'm not going to carry on too long. I've actually spoken longer than what I had planned to about this. But I really felt compelled to come and speak about this so that people do not go through your life, and don't let other people in your world even have that type of gaslighting type of energy with you, because it's manipulative in a sense. If someone's doing something to you that's abusive, destructive in a sense, and just because they can't see it, and then you are planning to exit that situation or however, and then they say, well, hey, wait a minute, I got it now. At least I got it. We should be good, right? Anyway, I'm going to leave that be. I've spoken my piece enough about this for the moment. I may come back and do something else around it. But for those of you who are trying to raise your standards and level up your value, don't allow people to put you in a very manipulative type of situation, okay, where they're on their own time to be apologetic about different things, all right? And it's, yes, sure, should you accept apologies and forgive certain people? And absolutely, but there are boundaries, and it doesn't mean you have to accept them back in your world. But I'm going to even say this, sometimes, no, you don't have to accept people's apologies. I said it. Yeah. That's up to you, whether you want to or not. And no, God's not holding that against you, no matter who tries to come at you with that. Because you can move on and move forward. Says, you know, okay. But I'm not feeling that at this point. And you get that right. If they could be on their own time, you can too. Another topic, I'll hit this at another time, about taking the high road. That is such a overrated type of topic. The high road is not always what we think the high road is. Sometimes the high road is telling somebody, get out your life or out your face. I said it. Sometimes it is taking the high road, because sometimes when you try to appease people, you're actually taking the low road and devaluing yourself. The high road is not about being walked over. Now here I am going on about a topic I said I would come back to, but I'm speaking about it now, so let me say what I have to say, and then I am going to close out here. We have to be careful that you don't allow these different conditionings from society to make you feel like you have to be subjected to do the right thing, what we quote-unquote think is the right thing all the time, when people are using that and leveraging that in order to get their way. They'll hold it over your head like you should be doing X, Y, and Z. Well, what about you? Who's going to teach you the lesson if I don't actually stand my ground or own my value? See, that's the thing. You own your value. Sometimes owning your value is going to make some people uncomfortable as hell, and that's okay. I said it. All right. So, I hope that this was food for thought and a source of empowerment, and I look forward to being back with you soon.